Hello and welcome to the Homeversity podcast brought to you by Residential Equity Partners. My name is Michael Ashley. I'm the founder of Residential Equity Partners, and I'm joined here today by Stephen Cavalcanti. He's one of our managing members.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thrilled to be with you, Michael.
I'm thrilled to be with you, too. We're with each other every day, though. Let's not act like we're not together every day. But you know what? At the end of the day, Stephen, it's like, I think about it, what a journey. It's been 11 years since I founded this business.
Yep.
We've done more than $1 billion in transactions. And it's like, I look at it and I'm like, 2,600 families we've been able to help over the time period.
Some gray hair.
A lot of gray. Not you, though. For some reason, I have all the gray hair. I don't know why that is. But it's been quite the journey. And you know what? Like, I think this podcast is really, really important because there are a lot of people who are going to be listening to this who are getting ready to make a decision that's life-changing.
Absolutely.
You know, you agree?
Yo, absolutely.
I mean, we talk to these people all the time. We talk to people who are facing foreclosure, people who have recently inherited a property. You know, I talk to people who recently inherited a property, and I say, you know what? Your mom and your pop, they worked hard for that inheritance for you.
Absolutely. The American dream.
You need to maximize that inheritance, and people go about things like the traditional way, like the regular way. And I say, why would you do that when we can get you so much more money for your inheritance? Or I talk to people who are in foreclosure who are thinking, I'm giving up. Literally, they're giving up, and I'm thinking, why? Why are you giving up? And I realize there's not enough information out there.
Yeah.
There's just not enough information. And we were kind of talking behind the scenes, and that's part of the biggest problem is that I think there's not enough information made available to people who need it.
Yep.
And the information that's out there, there's so much information and there's so much I hate to use this term, but it's true. There's so much misinformation and, quote, fake news when it comes to this because you have so many people out there who just they're in it for themselves. And you know what? Look, we've got a great business. We're in it to make money just like
Absolutely.
Everybody else is. But at the end of the day, we're A+ rated for a reason with the Better Business Bureau. You're talking about a company that, I mean, like, I think about it. We've got 500 reviews and 0 complaints. You know how hard that is? I dare any company in any industry to have 500 Better Business Bureau reviews. Better Business Bureau, not Google. Anybody could do Google. Better Business Bureau, completely 100% verified, 500 reviews and 0 complaints.
And I take that serious, you know, and I take a lot of pride in that because when you actually read these reviews, you can really visualize the stories from these clients, and the results are life-changing to them. You know, we're not dealing with somebody who's selling a pair of shoes or making a decision about life insurance. You know, we're dealing with somebody who's losing their property, who's making one of the most important financial decisions that they are going to be making in their life at the time.
Right. But the thing is, maybe they're not losing their property. Maybe
True.
They think they're losing their property. You know, so I think the name of the game here is we've got to get the right information to the right people at the right time because what we have to offer is critical compared to kind of what's out there. So, John, you're on Long Island now, right? I see you calling from your car.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, John, your property, we're not going to give the exact address, but on Violet, I remember meeting you there. I don't know if you remember that, the first time I met you there, and we walked through it right after you had inherited it. Do you remember meeting me there?
Yes, I do.
Right? I remember walking through the property, and you were saying, I met you there with Craig from our office, and you were saying, man, I am bombarded by so many phone calls, so many people just trying to steal my house and bother me, and people were so nasty and rude, but something about Craig made you listen, right?
Yes. I had lost my mother, my father, and my father-in-law at the same time, and we were in turmoil. And Craig,
Sorry.
I asked him if he could wait a couple of months, and he did wait. which everybody else didn't want to. They're like, no, we got to do it today. And I needed some time. So Craig was the guy that would help out, that would, give me respect and, my family.
Of course, it's such a difficult time. We deal with that a lot. People lose a loved one and then inherit a property. So you need the time. And so Craig was willing to wait because Craig is not the self-serving type of person. He was interested in your ongoing issue. So he waited, and that's what made you decide to give him the opportunity first, right?
Yes, that's the only reason why.
Okay. So I'm glad that you did that, though, because it wound up being a great relationship between us, actually. I remember going down and meeting you, and I actually remember, I think it's your wife was having neck surgery at the time, right? When this whole thing happened?
Yeah, my wife had to have neck surgery for collapsed vertebrae.
Right. I remember that. And I remember walking through the house, looking at it, and we were thinking, we got to get this done, and we got to clean out the house. And at the same time, if I remember correctly, your loan was with you inherited the property, but it had a reverse mortgage on it. Correct?
Yes, it was reverse mortgage, yes.
You had a reverse mortgage. And I think it was a coincidence that the lawyer that you were dealing with, right, Adam Gommerman, happened to be the same lawyer that we deal with on a regular basis, which was good because I think that kind of gave you a little bit of a comfort level.
Yeah, that definitely did, because I'd already met with him, and he was a nice guy. So since I knew you guys were working with him, I knew it had to be a good thing.
Right. Yeah. So I know that I just want to clarify one thing for a lot of people who are watching this. A lot of heirs who inherit properties with reverse mortgages, the first thing they think is, oh my God, what a headache. I don't own this house.
Liability.
Right? I have liability, or there's nothing I can do. But the truth is, we were able, right? Let's just talk about what we were able to do with you, right? We were able to negotiate a settlement with PHH for you, right? And not only did we negotiate a settlement with PHH, but I remember what was important to you at the time is that we were able to settle that reverse mortgage with PHH for an amount that was where you were able to also walk away with some money. But also, I know you needed the time because of everything that was going on in your life at that time to be able to clean out the house, right?
Yes, I basically had to clean most of it myself, and he basically had things stored everywhere.
Right. I remember the house, there was stuff stored all over the place. But we were able to get you the settlement, right? And I'm just curious. I want to make sure that our listeners know, when you came to us, how much money did you have to pay us to get this done for you?
Nothing.
Exactly. But what was true? The opposite. You walked away with money, correct?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
Which I was glad of. Everybody told me to walk away from the house because they said I'd never get a penny.
And that amount of money was the money that we agreed to in the beginning. So the expectation, correct?
Yes. It was a little more than what I expected, actually.
Right. So we were able to actually get you a lender incentive. We were able to get PHH to give you a lender incentive, and you were able to walk away with money, even more than you expected. And the opposite was true from people who were advising you that you should just walk away from the house altogether, correct?
Yep. They all turned around and they couldn't believe it. They said they would have thrown money out the window, just walked away from the house, not even looked back. Right.
And that's kind of why I wanted to have you on this show, because I think it's a shame that people inherit houses where whoever they inherited from worked so hard for that house, even if it has a reverse mortgage, it doesn't matter. That's your real estate inheritance. You should be able to get whatever the maximum amount of money is out of that real estate inheritance. And where other people are telling you and advising you to just walk away and there's nothing to get out of it, thank God we were patient and you were patient and we were able to find each other, and you wound up turning your inheritance, which you thought was just a headache, into actual money for you, which I'm sure was helpful for you going forward.
Oh, yes, it was.
I'd like to ask you a question, John. What was your experience like in working with the law firm who's facilitating this process for you?
Everything was easygoing. They explained everything as we went along. Small questions me and my wife had. They had the answer. They didn't have to go, wait to go see what it was or anything. They knew basically what it was right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's nice and easy.
Yeah. So being represented by the law firm, obviously that was a big part of it, because the law firm was able to negotiate this lender incentive and make it so that you could walk away with money, even on a reverse mortgage where there was no equity in the property, right? I mean, there was no equity in the property at all, but you were still able to walk away with money because of the lender incentive that they negotiated. But the point is, I think that Stephen was trying to make is, even though most people even think that you can't walk away with anything, it's nothing but a headache, and you may even have liability, but the opposite was true. They also say that it's a headache, and it's a lot of paperwork, and it's a nightmare. Tell the truth. Was it a nightmare? Was it a lot of paperwork? Was it a headache?
No, it's very little paperwork. It was not a headache. It was actually really is much easier than I thought it would be. Right. I couldn't have asked for anything better. Great.
Well, look, anything that you can help, anything that you want to say to people that might be in the same situation that you were, people that have inherited a property with a reverse mortgage, anything you think that they should know, because they're being bombarded just like you were, with people calling from all over the place. What can you tell them?
Basically, just wait to get the right person. I had waited, and I still get calls on the property, and they still don't know if they've been sold. Right? I just inform them on this, right? Because they're not educated. They're not looking at what's actually happened, right? But Greg and the crew definitely helped out, and it gave us what we needed to go forward with what was going on.
Good. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think you were pretty happy, because I know that you referred somebody else to us afterwards, even, right? Right after.
Yes. About a month later, a friend of mine is having a problem. I told her, you have to do this, right? And although she's upset she lost the house, she's happy that she dealt with everybody, right? And that everything went as smooth as it did.
Yeah,
good.
I remember that specific, your friend, and helping her, and another very difficult situation that we were able to help her get the entire mortgage satisfied and walk away with peace of mind and time. So it was, we're grateful for the opportunity to help your friend.
Yeah, and even though your friend may have been upset, the bottom line is, I'm sure she was happier with this outcome than the bank selling the house.
Right.
Yeah, the bank had said that they'll give her $10,000, and she was not going to be able to live on that. Now she can live until she gets Social Security very easily.
That's great.
She was able to walk away with significantly more. Correct.
Yeah, because look, the bottom line is, once our law firm gets in there, they're on retainer from us. Once they get in there and they start negotiating with the bank knows that, they've got to deal with a law firm that knows what they're doing, and they mean business. And once that happens, the $10,000 can turn into who knows how much money. We've seen $100,000, $80,000, $70,000. So anyway, I'm glad we were able to help you. I'm glad that we were able to help your friend, and I'm glad that we met. And thank you for coming on the show and sharing your story with us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, John.
Glad to be here.
All right.
All the best.
We'll talk to you. All the best. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, take care. Stephen, let's talk about reverse mortgage. And I'm not talking about getting a reverse mortgage. I'm talking about all these people who have gotten reverse mortgages. We know that reverse mortgage was
super
the craze.
Popular. Yep.
Super popular in 2008, 2009, 2010. And unfortunately, at this point, a lot of people who gotten those reverse mortgages have passed away, and all of a sudden, heirs are left with inheriting properties with reverse mortgages. And the most common thing that I hear from somebody who inherited a property with a reverse mortgage is, no, I don't own that house.
Right.
It's not my house. Or I don't want anything to do with it.
They distance themselves.
Right. I don't want to be. I don't want to be responsible for that. So
all the time.
I want to talk about that, because it's unbelievable to think that somebody inherited a house with a reverse mortgage, and they're actually running away from the house. Where what our listeners need to know is, the servicers, that are actually servicing those reverse mortgages are running after them,
Yes.
want to settle, and want to pay them
Yep.
to settle.
Yeah.
That actually they do own the house. They're not responsible.
And they're providing incentives.
Right. The lenders are so desperate
Yep.
that they're providing incentives to the heirs and saying, look, do this.
I
Sell
think-
this house and I'll give you an incentive to sell it.
I think it's one of the most highly misunderstood populations that we have, that we happen to deal with is reverse mortgage, clients that inherit and heirs, I would say, that inherit a property with a reverse mortgage on. Because what happens is, as the folks and the homeowners grow older, the condition of the property they're unable to maintain.
That happens a lot.
And the balance of what they owe goes like this. So while the
Right.
balance increases and the condition decreases, we get into this situation where they owe more on the property than it's worth.
Most times.
Right. And it's not in great condition. So heirs inherit this liability, quote unquote.
They think.
And they don't know what to do. So it comes back to what we discussed in terms of a lack of information. And that's where I think we should kind of hone in on what information is out there that we could provide for somebody to understand, okay, not only is this not a liability, but it could be a financial opportunity for me.
Well, 100%. And whoever it was that passed away would want you to have the best financial opportunity to maximize
100%.
your real estate inheritance. So I think one of the things that's important to point out is that with our platform, we've got a law firm on retainer that specializes in lender negotiations, especially reverse mortgages. And so we've got a lot of experience with this. We're not talking about like, okay, we've done one, we've done two. We're talking about hundreds of them. And these lenders on the other side, these servicers on the other side, they don't want to own the property.
Right.
They don't want to own the property. They want you to sell the property, and they're willing to be cooperative to make sure that they're there to help you to sell the property. And in what way could they be there? They'll give you incentives.
Yep.
You could walk away with money. They're willing to settle, but there's paperwork that has to be done. There's a process that has to be done, and you have to know what you're doing, which is precisely what we do. And so I think for anybody out there who's inherited a property with a reverse mortgage, like you said, information, education, but the proper information,
Right.
the proper education is important in understanding that A, the bank doesn't own the house.
Correct.
B, the liability will never, ever be yours, the mortgage liability.
Correct.
You will never have that liability. But C, there's most likely an opportunity for you to be able to maximize your real estate inheritance. One phone call to our company, we can go through the whole process with you. Stephen, this is what Stephen does on a regular basis. He can go through the whole process with you. But I implore you, if you inherited a property with a reverse mortgage, don't walk away. You're walking away. You're just leaving money behind.
Yeah. I think, what we're seeing is that it's more prevalent and more common than ever for the reverse lenders. Look, they're not doing this because they're nice, right? They're doing this because it's the most profitable method of disposition for them. So, they're looking to incentivize a homeowner and provide a monetary incentive so that there could be a benefit instead of having to follow through with the foreclosure process.
So yes, the question is, why would they do this? Let me tell you why they would do it. It's very simple. In New York State, a bank just can't take a house. They have to go to court. It's a court case.
Yep.
And even with a reverse mortgage, it's a court case. And so they don't want to go through 5 years of litigation, even if you don't defend it, to take back the house. They would rather get rid of that property as quickly as possible, and they're willing to pay you and incentivize you to do that. So for me, if you've inherited a property with a reverse mortgage, the most important thing that you could do is get up to speed, get educated, and we're happy to do that for you. You just need to call us.